We continue to show dealerships across the country how to retain their customers, but now Shop Smart Autos wants to bring the new customers right to your showroom floor. The car they want? It's sitting on your lot, and Shop Smart Autos can bring you the VIN-specific leads that take them straight to your door. These aren't just leads. They're nurtured, targeted, and matched down to the exact vehicle. You'll sell more cars faster, and your team is going to thank you for it. Shop Smart Autos VIN-specific leads. Let SSA show them the way to your showroom floor. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and watching and listening. I am Lee Wolf, and by my side I have Richie Bello. How you doing, Richie?
Good, Lee. How are you today?
Good, good. So yeah, we're going to take about a half hour here for our Turning Shoppers into Buyers Shop Smart Autos event, which is all centered around third-party leads. And I'm just going to bring up our slides here. So yeah, turning shoppers into buyers, third-party leads nurtured to higher conversion. And we're not looking to knock anyone over the head. There's no obligation to be a part of this. We just wanted to get the facts and the information out there on third-party leads, the change over time, where it used to be dirty words, third-party leads. Now it's a whole new ball game. So again, no obligation for being with us today, and let's get rolling on with the show. So, Rich, from your point of view, and I think from most people's point of view, third-party leads in 2020 and dealing with COVID as compared to today, what's the difference? What's going on?
Well, there's a pretty much big difference between then and today. What the problem is, the pricing of Google has gotten so much more expensive, right? And in 2020, who really needed leads? I mean, really, there was no inventory, so why would you want leads? So it was a time where supply was in demand versus today, customers are in demand. And that's much more difficult now to capture that. You know, as you got major problems. I mean, 30 years, they haven't changed their technology in dealer websites, okay? Dealer websites were not intended for conversion. They were intended to display. The evolution came in, and that's why dealerships' websites are so underperforming. I mean, similar web, you can go to all these different outlets and see what I'm talking about. The information is out there.
Right, right. And now, so from a cost of acquisition standpoint, 2019, we were looking at anywhere, it depends on where you are in the country, it depends on the type of dealership, right? But we were looking at like $500 to $1,100. Now we're seeing numbers like $900 to $1,600. What do you make of that?
Well, the whole thing with the search, right? So you go to a platform named Spyful, and you can look at different markets. Like you take right now, Queens, okay?
Right.
Queens, Brooklyn, population, searches, people always searching for cars. The higher that search is, you're going to be at right around 14 to 1,600, you know? That's where you're going to be. It ain't like in Sugar Land, Texas, that they have a better PPC person or a better marketer. No, it has to do with the volume of the people. What we've noticed is through our clickable platform, we are seeing an increase in the Dade County area on the paid search tremendously. You know, we're seeing in certain zip codes, it's the same type of thing as New York now. And that's a little crazy for us anyway. But and that's the difference right now. On an average, you're right around over 900. I would say $1,100. Last year was 900 and change. I would say now, right now, it's 1,000, 1,100. I mean, that's crazy. That does not help a dealership, that cost per acquisition, because yes, you have co-op, but what happens when you run out of co-op in the first quarter, right? And now you got to really pay that. That's when dealers don't spend that money in advertising. And then the problem is there's no consistency with that. And then this is where the third party leads are dominating right now. Not based on what I say. I mean, Cox Automotive sent it out to everybody. I mean, third party leads are dominating. Our third party leads are totally different. I mean, I have on my phone here what a lead from certain brands are: name, full name, work number, and cell phone, and that's
Right.
it. It's different.
Yeah, and actually that was the next place we were going, is having the right type of leads. And with a Shop Smart VIN specific lead, you're getting a pretty incredible amount of information, right?
Yes, you are. And let me rephrase that. I had that information always. Came COVID. The reason that a lot of people didn't convert it, because you didn't need leads, but this is your inventory. It's really third party leads because it comes from our website. But in reality, when you look at the definition of third party leads, you don't get this. There's nobody that has that inventory, and there's one other person that has that, and that's the OEM sector. You know, Ford Direct has it and all that, and that's what we have. Those are the kind of leads we have. Your inventory. So that lead has a much more value than any other lead, I think.
Yeah, the car's on your lot. I mean,
right.
They're actively searching for the specific vehicle that's sitting on your lot. That's unbelievable. And here I see first name, last name, inventory ID. What else you got? The make, the model, the VIN, the year, condition, price, mileage. It's like, forget it. Colors when available, stock numbers, contacts, name, email, home phone number, cell if it's going to be in there, I'm sure, their address. It's unbelievable as compared to the competition's leads.
Right.
Okay, so who's managing the store? So we're seeing that turnover is at an all-time high. Training is, I guess, kind of in a lot of cases expensive and very limited. And all leads are usually treated in the same way, which we have here burned and discarded. But basically, there seems to be like a thought process in the dealership world that when you get a lead, whether it's third party or not, that it just automatically means there's intent to purchase. So what is your take lately on training? Because I know during COVID, people were kicking in the doors and everyone felt so confident that their inventory was going to go. How are you feeling about training today and the importance of is it important to get back to it a lot stronger now?
Yeah, definitely. Training today is very, very important. A couple of things. Why is it important? First of all, what it does, it creates more productivity. You keep your staff focused. And right now, because traffic is down in the automotive sector, you want to keep them focused instead of them hanging around in the desk, drinking coffee and saying how bad things are. The other guy saying, oh, yeah, I know, but my friend down the street is doing very well. And that, you know how it is, that whining and complaining stuff. When you got 3 or 4 people that their store is down, forget it. Then even if it's true or not, a guy comes in and says, oh, yeah, my friend is doing great over there, and this kind of stuff. And it's called coffee clutching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just complain and you don't realize it, that negative spin that you get into. The spiral keeps going down. As you're training them, they're being more predictive. Listen, it happens to me, Lee. It happens to you. It happens to all of us. We are humans. Our nature is when things are not going our way, what do? We complain.
Right.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it happens to me. It happens to you. And we try to stay as professionals, as focused as possible. But you can't help it, right?
Right.
That's that we're professionals, training and going into stores and talking to people and learning, and imagine how difficult it is for these guys that are 21, 24, 25 years old to sit in that showroom and wait, and there's no opportunity for them. It's hard. So training increases your productivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
It increases your confidence. And if your confidence is good, then consumer confidence is good, you know?
Yeah,
So then you start going on the spiral up instead of in the spiral down.
right, right. Yeah, I always noticed that especially hands-on training. I know you were the type of guy that when you would go in and train, you were getting out there on the floor and selling cars in front of salespeople. A lot of the training that I came across over the years with a few different companies, it was just watch this video, answer some questions. Watch this video, answer some questions. People were actually paying other employees to take these tests and this training for them because they just didn't even want to watch or pay any attention. But I noticed hands-on, person-to-person kind of training and interacting with people and learning how to communicate again and, you know, just take a breath and get yourself out there. It makes such a tremendous difference.
And the other thing, Lee, just to answer this question for you, why did I do that? Like, because I was in a dealership like Ideal Motors. I would go there on weekends and all this. When I was doing the training, I always had that Ideal Motors, you know, with
Yeah,
Gary and all that. And I would go on there to keep polished because, you know, let's say that you were great in the car business,
right,
right? And now you became a trainer for 10 years. You don't know what the market is today. You're going by how you used to do it.
right,
You know, 10
right.
years ago, things change. Like right now, the lead generation is changing, you know,
Sure.
and everything, and the evolution of any industry starts changing. So if you don't keep up with it, and how could I be such a great trainer if I don't have a store that I do it on weekends? So I do it every day and deal with salespeople and deal with stuff and deal with inventory, deal with the real problems. These guys are coming up with solutions and all that, but they're coming up with solution based on 10 years ago, 15 years ago,
Right,
not today's solution
right, right.
because they
Gotcha.
don't have a store.
Right. And now this actually pulls from the last slide and kind of bridges to this, where we were saying that all leads are kind of treated the same. Now, that's a lack of training on the dealership's part, but also it becomes overwhelming, right? I mean, if you do get an influx of leads and you're trying to touch these leads a certain amount of times, which most dealerships probably touch leads, what, 2 or 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard for them to get, 7 to 10 new leads, touch them all 10, 12 times, try to sell cars, try to do your paperwork, try to stay.
Right.
So now we're getting into the idea of companies are supporting their leads with nurture. Now, Shop Smart Autos not only gives VIN specific leads, so the car is on your lot, but Shop Smart is actually nurturing those leads before they even get to you, right?
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So just tell
And
us a little bit about that.
we've always nurtured, because if you look at Shop Smart Autos and you look at the form, it's only name, phone number, and email. We've already communicated with them in the nurturing part. We've always nurtured them, not like we're doing it today with AI and all that kind of stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? But we've always nurtured them, because how are we going to get them so much data? You know what I mean? How is that possible? If the form says first name, last name, and the reason we have the VIN number, the stock number, because it's the vehicle detail page. So that form you only see on that vehicle detail page, and
Right.
you only see it when you pick a car.
Right.
Right. So then that's tapped into that car. So, that's an important, when you nurture name, phone number, and email. I mean, the one thing that they tell you, I'm thinking about it, they don't even have a car yet. We put that prospect or that buyer that's going to be a buyer in a vehicle already for you. You know what that means? When a customer is already on a vehicle, you don't have to spin when that customer walks in that you have a lead, first name, email, and all this. Yeah, okay. He's thinking about buying what? What is he thinking about buying? He could be going after your brand, or he could be just shopping and trying to see if he even likes the car. These people here pick the car.
Right.
So that's it. You're done. You got the job done because they picked the vehicle that they want. of their interest. I would never be selling leads or anything like that if they didn't pick a car, because why would I?
Right. Right. And this goes on for 60 days.
Right. 60 days. Correct.
Wow. And they're hit with SMS, email,
AI, phone calls, you have to touch. We've noticed in the last, say, 6, 7 months, you got to touch somebody 12 times.
Right.
12 times. If you're not touching somebody 12 times, you're not doing anything. You're not scaring anybody. And the other thing is that I'm going to make a point. Would you, Lee Wolf, would you like somebody to call you 12 times?
No.
Okay, so when you're in the showroom, you're a human being. You say, well, if I don't like it for me, so why should I do it to somebody else? But here's what everybody's missing. What everybody's missing is that if you don't do it, your competitor right across the street from you will do it.
Absolutely.
And if your competitor won't do it, the other guy that's next to him will do it. So if everybody agreed, let's only do it 3 or 4 times and that's it. Okay. But that's the problem. Like, you don't know who else is using AI and is going after and after consistently,
Right. Right. So how to build the process. How do you think dealers should, because a lot of times you say to me, well, it's great. I could just sell you a bunch of leads, but if you're not going to touch the leads, a bunch of times and really work at it, you're just buying leads, and you might land the car or something. And so from a dealer standpoint, where should they be prepared first? Should they have AI, besides the fact that ShopSmart's already nurturing these leads?
Right.
Should they be prepared on their end with their own AI system and their own AI agents and things like that built into their systems, ready to go?
Yeah, well, they could, but we try to call it, and what we call it is a fresh start program, right? The fresh start program is, you don't know us, we don't know you, you don't know our leads, we don't know anything, right? So we try to nurture it together with you, take you through that funnel, from when the lead hits your CRM all the way down to the path of the nurturing. So hopefully you can do it too, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to teach the dealership how to nurture. We don't want to just nurture it for you and that's it, like all these other guys. That's how they make a living, We don't want to do that. We want to show you the path of you doing this, where the conversion happens for you. And now you're getting some value out of that, because now you can teach your people how the nurturing program is with this AI, and with all this text information and with all this information that they have. Now you see what your conversion is.
Right.
We want to show the dealer how we do it so they can do it. Or at least they have the option of doing it. Not like all these other people that say, I nurture,
Right.
Lead litigation or whatever they call it. All these guys out there that they're making a fortune on the dealers, but they're not showing the dealer. We show you the dealer. We show you the dealer how to take that to your funnel and convert that as the customer's coming in, and then that customer gets delivered.
Right. And that's really important, right? Because I could see a situation where the salespeople should really understand how this all works too, because I can see a situation where it's like a customer comes in and says, oh yeah, I got your texts and I got your emails, and the salesperson's like, I didn't email you, or I didn't everyone should really be on the same page, right?
Right. And there's a reason why we want to teach them. Now, you worked in the car business, Lee, right?
Mm-hmm.
After that customer buys a car, nobody follows him up, right? Mm-hmm. The next time you're going to know when he's in the market, when either cars.com sends you a lead, when Cars Guru sends you the lead, or when somebody, oh, this is my customer, you always got to be buying leads from them. Why? Because they nurture all the customers that come into the website like we do. We want to show the dealership how that customer, even though it's a lead from us, how they can nurture that all the way down to the path where they're always going to have that customer. Not that you buy it now and then you got to always keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the other marketplaces are like that purposely for them to always be selling you the lead, because they know that dealers don't follow anybody up.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, so when it comes down to costs, and this includes nurturing, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're looking at VIN-specific leads, $49 a lead for 100 leads minimum.
Right.
And now, because these leads are nurtured, the closing rates should be astronomically different than when you just buy leads, right?
We've seen it in the pre-owned vehicles. Like we got some used car stores. We've seen it anywhere between 10 to 12%.
That's
conversion, which that's because it's inventory. You know, that a big part of that is inventory.
Yeah, right. But selling 10 or 12 cars out of 100.
When a customer picks an inventory, a VIN number with a stock number, they have interest. The only reason they'll change from that vehicle is if that vehicle's payment is too high, because they already agreed on the price.
Right.
And we know that, Lee. So we did a big change in our website, right? We put on each car an estimated payment.
That's good. Just put it transparency right out there.
Right. So we changed the website. The UI is changed a lot. You got to look for certain things that it changes. So we put, here's the vehicle that they picked, and we give them an estimated payment. Right. The reason we do that, because we noticed that even though they had that VIN number and all that, certain dealers were complaining to us because they were changing vehicles, right? And then they would lose the deal. Here, the excuse can be like, well, the payment is too high. Well, they already saw the payment, unestimated payment.
Oh.
So we just added that. Like, that's one of the features we just added.
That's awesome. Okay, so how about, you know, anyone that buys anything in the world, they want it yesterday. So just so we're transparent here, it takes a little bit of time for it to start rolling, right? Because there's a process involved when you start to try to acquire these leads for a dealership.
Correct. Understand, we don't have a library of leads, right? These are inventory leads. What does that mean? That means that we do ads, VIN-specific ads. That's what we do to generate those leads. We upload our inventory and we're generating the leads. That being said, we have the ability, all right, to generate leads only on your used cars that are over 60 or 90 days. You tell us. We have that ability also. Right. We're strictly an inventory marketing company. That's what we are.
So if a dealership has 40 pre-owned vehicles or new if they're sitting there for a huge amount of time, they can literally just say, we want to get rid of our old inventory. It's killing us. Right. And you put VIN-specific ads out there in ShopSmart that then target customers, and when it hits, it brings them directly to that car on your lot.
Right. Only for those cars.
Wow.
I don't have to give you the leads for all your inventory. You say, I only want these cars that are old age unit. Now, that helps you because, as you know, the car business, right, Lee? The more people that open a door, the better shot you got of delivering that car, right? Dealers always wanted to get me more customers on my old age units.
Right.
Well, now with digitally, we have the ability to look at your feed and you tell us anything over 60 days, and we already know you're aged. We already have that data. We know how old the car is. You got to tell us anything over 60 days. That's what I want.
Right. Right.
Anything over 60 days. So that's an interesting thing that we have on generating the leads. Now, the leads could be any day. Some days you get 3, some days you get none, the next day you get 8. It all depends what the market is, But all our leads get generated. All our leads get generated immediately.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then it's continuous process from there. But like you said, some days it could be a couple, some days it could be a bunch, there could be none a couple of days. But yeah, that is awesome about the inventory though. Okay. So this is some contact info. You got Richie at shopsmartautos.com, Richie's direct number, and the 2 websites, which Shop Smart Autos. You have shopsmartautos.com and shopsmartautosfordealers.com. And before we actually get rolling, we have some questions that we've been getting a lot. We've been kind of getting a lot of questions from people that watch Game Face. Let's see. So this one was, I thought, how often is too often when it comes to emails, texts, and calls? Everyone seems to be wondering this. And, when you hit that 10th time you touch someone, or that 12th time you touch someone, do you start to say, do you wait for them to say, leave me alone? Or do you think there's a point at which you say, you know what, let's put them in a back burner for another day?
Well, you know what we've noticed, right, Lee? And I'm so glad you brought that up to let the audience know. You know what we've noticed? When you do the SMS process, where they actually when they ask you the question and all that, and they start engaging and they get all their information, then you got to push it into an appointment, right? You can't give them all the information like you were, like back in the day, they used to be 411, because they're never going to come to you. They're going to take that information and shop you. So what we try to do is give them enough information to trigger on the curiosity thing to then bring them into the showroom, right? That's what we try to do. And we've noticed that it's a whole different when you start SMSing people versus calling people. The AI agents are good, and the AI you have to call people too. But we've noticed that there's more and more people very, very well. They're very well okay with the SMS. And if they're not, all they got to put is stop. So if somebody puts stop on the SMS, now you know that you can't follow them up on the phone either.
Yeah. I don't really get annoyed, but I mean, it gets a little, like, almost where I go now. I go to get an ice cream with the kids. Next thing I know, I'm getting a text. I go to now the diner sends me texts. Don't forget 20% off this weekend, So yeah, you hit stop if you want to hit stop, or you let it sit.
Understand, it's a little different. The customer is in market now, right?
Right.
So we send out a text that's a conversational piece. So when they start, we said that once, when they start having a conversation and engagement with us, and asking us the questions, that's where the conversion is. You know what I mean? It's like a whole different thing when you send out a text, like I get them too, target 20%, this, that's different. This customer went on your inventory, said, I'm interested in it.
Right. Yeah.
And now what they want is information.
Right. True.
And this is where it gets a little bit, I would call it hairy, right? A little bit hairy. This is where it gets a little bit, because if they're asking you for this information and you're not providing them some information and asking for the appointment, that's when you got a problem. Because if you're just giving them the information, right? And that's it, it ends there. Then the next time you text them, they're going to say no. You have to set it up the right way.
Right.
It's just like a finance deal. If you don't set up the finance deal to the finance guy, what's going to happen is there's going to be $0. It's all about the setup to bring them in the door. Because trust me, the last thing they want, these are online buyers, the last thing they want is come in the door.
Right.
If your dealership has the availability of actually delivering somebody with an e-contract and everything, that's the perfect scenario. Because these folks are not interested in going in the showroom. They're just not.
Right. Okay.
So
All right.
there's a lot of that availability where you can, Lee, not for nothing, but you can actually buy a car right online.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the dealerships that don't do that, like Carvana, they ship you a car right here. Boom, you have it.
Right.
If you don't have that ability, Mr. Dealer, I don't think you should be buying leads, honestly, to be honest with you, because your competitor does.
Okay. All right. Now we've hit the 30-minute mark here, but I did want to ask you one more of these questions. If a dealership is getting started with third-party lead nurturing, what's the first thing that they should fix, or an important thing that you should look at on a dealership level?
Well, if you're going to start with the nurturing program with us, let's say they don't buy leads. Let's say they just want to do nurturing, no problem. We would love that. The first thing is reach out to us so we can see your CRM. We can see if everything is set up right. We can see if your webhooks are right. We can see how you have everything set up.
Right. Okay. All right. Awesome. Anything else you wanted to add before we leave the audience here today?
No, I think this is great. Thanks a lot for putting this together, Lee. I really appreciate you. And look forward to more of these sort of online events.
All right, cool. Yeah, and thanks to everyone out there for watching and listening. And I'm sure we'll be doing this again very soon. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye-bye.